What's up? We had a lot of technical difficulties today in the Earlverse. Maybe a record for trolls in the Earlverse. But you know what? We adapt, we persevere, we keep going. This is the Thursday night edition, the night before Hackamania. Now, because of some last minute bidness, I will only be at Hackamania tomorrow night. But that's okay. Truth is, I can't stand Las Vegas. So the less I'm there, the better. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to have a good time. And I hope that you guys watch the stream. I think it's $19 or something for the whole weekend. And, I hope the shows go well. If it goes well, it's just another festival or whatever you want to call it for comics to be able to perform in. There's no downside to it going well. And I'm excited. I got a long day ahead of me tomorrow. I will be driving up in the new car. And so that'll be fun. Get to stretch out the Z3 or M3 or X3. I'm sorry. It's the X3 M package. I'll buy a lottery ticket in Baker. That's the kind of place you win in. And, we'll see what happens. Hit the like button while you're at it. Now, I know going on at this time, it's a little after 9 p.m. on the West Coast time. Probably not a great time to go on, but, you late night East Coasters are probably going Betty by right now. It's okay. I'm used to talking to myself. But to the 5 people who are in this stream, just know that I appreciate you. The 7 people in here, I appreciate you. And I'd appreciate the 4 who haven't hit the like button yet to get it together. I have been watching the Ray Liotta show, Smith. Someone uploaded all 7 episodes of the one and done Ray Liotta show, Smith, on YouTube. And I've been having a good time. I've been looking for this show forever. And I figured the streaming services aren't going to put it on just because I think it was only 7 episodes before they canned it. What up, Night Moose? How's the sound, Night Moose? After today's technical difficulties, I'm paranoid. But I've checked and rechecked all wires and cables, and I believe the sound is back to optimal levels. I apologize for the sound earlier. I don't know what was going on. The Wi-Fi was working, everything was plugged in. But, such is life. I'm my own producer, which explains why there are no credits in this show. There's no musical intros or outros. The Earlverse is what it is. And to the people who like it, I appreciate you. To the people who don't like it, there's plenty of other streams out there that are more technically advanced than mine. Oh, I enjoyed the political discussion with, I believe, who was it, mainly? I forget, who it was. I've never been one to, argue or debate with the attitude of, "I'm right, you're wrong." Yes, Junior. I don't take it personally, you know? I mean, the fact is none of us were, in or around the main players of it, so, I just think it's funny that, after the verdict was read, MSNBC was fawning over Michael Cohen, whereas, 3 or 4 years ago, they hated the guy. Uh, but, it's a historical day that I don't think any of us will, what up, Bryce? Any of us will realize the significance of today for a decade more. I mean, I wasn't involved, but I was, what was it, 26 or 27 years old when the OJ trial and, the murders, the trial, the aftermath, and I didn't really appreciate it at the time till, probably 15 years later. I have not, Bryce. I've not tried that. I don't really go to Starbucks a lot. John Doe, that's a deep question. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. I mean, I was raised hardcore Catholic, and none of their teachings make any sense to me, which is why I kind of abandoned the church after, I believe it was after 9/11. The pastor at my church says something to the effect of, God could have prevented 9/11, but he wanted it to happen to teach us a lesson. And it's like, why don't you tell that to the guy who jumped off the 100 and whatever it was, 40th floor to his death? So that guy had to die to teach me a lesson? I don't think so. So, that's why I kind of stopped going to church after that. And I don't think I've been back since. Um, it's a great question. I'm gonna be straight with you. I don't know the answer. Uh, all I can do is tell you where I'll be tomorrow night in Las Vegas, Nevada, home of the Killers. But I will be only there for one night, just because the Comedy Store has asked me to close out the main room Saturday night. And no, it wasn't a joke. Father Preeb, Prieb. We were in line at Disneyland, and I think I don't know what ride we were in line for, but he was like kind of giving me a back rub, and even back then I thought this is a little fucking weird, but nothing happened. I mean, it was in public. Uh, and I was telling someone the other day, a lot of priests from Good Shepherd Catholic Church and school. It was a collaborative effort, I guess you'd say. A lot of them just disappeared, man. So, hold on, I'm getting a text that is stand-up comedy related. Let's see. Like I said, I don't have a producer. Um, so I have to do everything on my own. Didn't you say one of them was rubbing your back? Or no, that was not a joke. Night Moose. I mean, they were just transferred like out of nowhere, like just gone the next day. And of course, as a little kid, you don't really put two and two together. But now it strikes me as, oh, that's where the Monsignor went. Um, how to? Oh, thank you. Pack the slide. Are you new to the stream? Uh, I tell you, I just had dinner last night after AEW with RJ City and a mystery guest who I will keep anonymous. They are on the AEW roster, and I'm telling you, man, my ideas would help AEW. Because AEW has, and I was telling RJ and our mystery guest last night, AEW has reached a ratings crescendo with people who only like AEW. So people like me. What they now have to do is find a way to get people who watch WWE and hell, even TNA. You go, okay, let's watch Dynamite. Let's watch Collision. Hell, even Rampage. And you got to come up with better storylines. You know, like to me, I said I would have Dolph Ziggler be the devil. And if you really fucking go all in, you fucking the devil and his crew. Because listen, I love Roderick Strong, but here's the problem with the devil storyline. And I only talk about it months after it happened. Was I think the devil storyline was the best storyline in AEW history from the initial execution of the 3 attacks spread out. Now, I don't know if this was done intentionally or it was just let's use who's ever here tonight. But the first attack against Jay White, the devil and the attackers were very skinny. I mean, I still think the devil that attack against Jay White, if you remember that one, was either Britt Baker in the costume or Danhausen. And then the second attack, when they threw Bowens through the window, 2 of the 4 attackers were pretty big dudes. So it could have been Jackson and Taven from the Kingdom. Might have been Sean Spears. You know, it could have been any number of guys. And then the third attack against Hangman Page, if you go back and look at that, all 4 dudes were jacked, big dudes. And the devil himself was gigantic, like big muscular body. So I thought the length of the storyline was good. You know, people weren't tired of it. But then I thought the problem was the reveal. Like the reveal makes sense if you follow, you know, Cole and Strong and Taven and Jackson from, you know, NXT to a Ring of Honor. You know, it makes sense, but you know, the problem was you make the 2 most important people in the storyline are injured. So they can't be in the ring with each other physically for months. So the storyline just kind of died there. You know, Adam Cole had a broken ankle. MJF's taking time off to heal up. So now you got the storyline hangs on Roderick Strong, who is over, but I don't know if he's over enough to carry a storyline. You've got the Kingdom, who, you know, they've never really gotten a huge pop. No offense, but they haven't. And, you know, Wardlow's kind of in and out of the group. That already doesn't make sense. I mean, listen, John Doe, you know, we'll go in and out of wrestling. You know, I've often, you know, my mom died of about 3,000 forms of cancer. And, you know, I remember uh, you know, they lived in Miami at the time. And, I came from LA at 6:30 in the morning, and literally she took her last breath when I walked into the house. And if you would have seen the condition my mom was in, and my mom was beautiful. She was a model when she was, you know, young, and just cancer ate her to the fucking bone. And she was a great lady, like a great mom, a great wife. I mean, took care of my dad for a very long time when he was not uh, basically, you know, he was alive but dead for a very long time. And it's like, you know, how could you do that to a woman, put her through that much pain? And my dad the same way. I mean, my dad gave more money to my dad is responsible alone for 2 churches and 1 in Miami. 2 churches in Los Angeles, 1 in Miami of being built because he gave so much fucking money, and he died a horrible death. So, you know, John Doe, I don't know how God can treat two people like my parents who were amazing people and give them the diseases and make them basically die a slow, tortured death. Uh, you know, it's beyond my brain. I am back, Earl. I am back. I'm Earl, your SCVID show. I did go to yoga. Felt really good. That's why I'm probably doing this stream right now. I did get a new car, which I will be driving to Vegas tomorrow. It is a M3. No, it's an X3 with the M package, a BMW X3 with the M package. It's a very nice car. It's very quiet. I look almost too big for the car. Like I fit getting out of a Jeep. Jeep's kind of a big car, and I had the Rubicon, fully loaded Rubicon. The M3 is a bit more of a sportier car. My first car was a BMW, bright red 318i. So, I'm happy with the car. I wanted a new vintage Bronco, but it was just too much money. I think it was like 1,950 a month, 10,000 down. Yeah, the X3 is nice. It's pickup's pretty good. You could put it in 3 modes. Economy mode, which is probably for city driving, sport mode, and then in between, I forget what the middle mode is. I think it's comfort mode, which is a kind of a combo of sport and econo. But unfortunately, the Bronco was just too much money. Hit the like button, baby doll. So, it's not going to be too long of a stream tonight. I must get some good sleep tonight because I'm taking yoga early in the morning and then drive right to Vegas. Well, I mean, how old are you? Pack the slide. And I only ask because Wardlow reminds me of basically Mike Awesome, who was an ECW guy. I don't mean Mike Awesome in WCW, but if you are only in your 20s, you probably don't know who Mike Awesome was. I mean, I will say I went to AEW last week in Bakersfield, and Wardlow came out to interfere in a match, and he's pretty fucking big in person. Like, he's got a presence. I don't think he needs to be in this group. They fucked him up so much. I don't know if he's salvageable at this point. You had this Goldberg type character built. People were into it. He's off of TV for a few months. You bring him, he's got a hot feud with MJF. They teased the swerve of him turning on MJF. I just, okay, so you're in your 20s. Yeah, I mean, so, after this stream, don't do it during it. Just look up some videos of Mike Awesome in ECW. I mean, he might have been about the same size as Wardlow. He might have even been a little bigger. It's hard to say, but and he wasn't great on the mic. But ECW really, what up, ACDC? The ECW kind of catered to not necessarily promos, but more violent matches. And look up Mike Awesome and Tanaka. Yeah, I think it was Tanaka. Wow, I mean, just unbelievable matches. So getting back to your question with Wardlow, I just think you turn him into this ass kicker. Like, you kind of got to rebuild the Goldberg type character where he just destroys people. And then, I mean, it's probably too late to build him a good character for All In London. I mean, they kind of hinted that he was going to go after MJF again. I wouldn't mind that. They had good chemistry. There is a built-in storyline with those guys. Now, here's the thing. The problem is, and I was talking about this today with my friend about All In London, which is AEW's WrestleMania. You got to figure they're going to put the strap on an Ospreay in London. It makes sense. So what do you do with MJF? I mean, I don't think he came back to lose. So you're gonna have to, I don't know, man. You're gonna have to come up with a creative idea for MJF. I would say him and Osprey are two top dogs. Okada probably didn't. He probably signed with AEW under the premise of, "Hey, you're going to be a champion." I mean, I'm sure uh, Jay White is probably. I noticed he started featuring him a little more in singles matches. He's great. If you don't really, if you only know Jay White and his time in AEW, look up Jay White in New Japan. He's had some Beller 5-star Bellers there. And then you got to figure Kenny Omega will be back by that time. Um, Takeshita is a star. I think Daniel Garcia is a star. If you could, kind of get him in a good program. I like Kyle Fletcher and Swerve Strickland. Obviously he's a champ. I think him and Osprey will be good. Yeah, I mean Jay White's awesome. I think most American fans really only know him from AEW, which is unfortunate because in New Japan he was a star, like a single star leader of the Bullet Club. Um, so I mean London's got some potential goodness to it. I would, if you, I mean, maybe Swerve and MJF, maybe Osprey versus Okada, and then you could have like maybe Jay White against Omega, if Omega's healthy, maybe Wardlow against Jay White. I mean, there's many, yeah, uh, Jay White's just a fantastic wrestler. Maybe Jay White and Swerve. I don't know what the plan is for Swerve and Osprey, like in terms of who goes over. I mean, I do think it looks good for AEW to have a black champion. I mean, it's just a good look. And he's really good too. I mean, you gotta, I'm assuming, what the problem is with all these trios teams, you've kind of slacked on the tag team. I couldn't even tell you who the tag team champs are in AEW. Um, there's really no free agents that maybe from the women's side there are, but from the men's side, I don't think you're going to have um, anyone really. I mean, I think Osprey and Okada were like the last two big free agents you could snag. I mean, maybe Dolph Ziggler. I don't know what his contract is with TNA or Nick Nemeth. Sorry. That could be a big one. I mean, he's really like and he's not available right now, but he's in TNA. But I would say Nick Nemeth could possibly be a factor in AEW. But who knows? So, and I don't know whose contracts are up or coming up in WWE, but they've got that 90-day no compete clause. So, which AJ getting to the point, which female wrestler in AEW has the most seismic set of slammers? I mean, I would say Willow Nightingale has some pretty big boobs, I guess. Harley Cameron is a great heel, and she's only been wrestling 2 years, so keep your eye out on Harley. Soraya, Sky Blue. I mean, you know, there's some great female wrestlers in AEW right now. Obviously Mercedes Moné, the champ, and I think you got to figure before London anyway. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, I would guess, um, would be in the mix. Of course, the next pay per view is Forbidden Door, and they already teased last night. Um, uh, Mercedes will be featuring in Forbidden Door against some new girl, I think from New Japan. Um, so that's just another woman in the AEW hopper, and I think Ronda Rousey's technically in Ring of Honor, so I would be, for this year's All In, I wouldn't be surprised if Ronda Rousey shows up. Um, Did you ever listen to Jackie Mason? Did you find him funny? I mean, I find, Jack I mean, obviously, he's a comedy legend, but I never really found him that funny. The Jewish shtick gets old after 10 minutes, for me anyway. Um, but, old school comic for sure, like, a little bit of a Catskills type vibe, that hacky Jewish humor, but that was big like when he was big, that style was in, like he was in Caddyshack too. It's like, oh, this guy's just like a poor man's Rodney Dangerfield. Hey, I don't know. It's two gods. Um, I have not heard of. I've heard maybe I've heard the name Broadway, but I mean, they got enough dudes. Powerhouse Hobbs is hurt right now. That's another dude. Um, who's in the mix. I mean, I love. Pardon me. I love Malachi Black. He's a great singles performer. So I'd like to see him involved a little more. Not that I don't like House of Black. I'd like to see Buddy Matthews a single match. I mean, Jake Hager, not Hagar. He's just there's no room for him. I mean, there's just which is too bad because he's kind of a good-looking guy. He's got an absolute legit background in college wrestling, but not the greatest on the mic. And he was like the fourth or fifth wheel in the Jericho Society, and it just he hasn't really gotten much buzz since he was the All American. Um, so he's a jobber at this point. Um, I don't find Seinfeld funny, but he's obviously incredibly funny. I just, you like what you like. I mean, I've always kind of gravitated towards like Stephen Wright, Robert Schimmel, Mitch Hedberg, uh, stuff like that. I've never really, I've never really watched one episode of Seinfeld, so he didn't do it for me. But I'm not saying he's not funny, Obviously he is. I mean, when you sell out Madison Square Garden, you don't fool that many people. Um, I mean, Starks is someone that he's I think he was kind of ruined by Edge in that one promo where Edge or Adam Copeland, I just can't call him that, even though that's his name. Kind of said, "You're nothing more than a bootleg rock." That was like, oh man, that's going to be tough to. I mean, that's a zinger that fans will not forget. It's kind of like when The Rock came in and did that promo with Booker T, and with one line buried him probably forever in his career. And he just looked at him and goes, "Who are you?" Um, yeah, I mean, Brian Cage is another guy who I would say he's an upper mid Carter. I mean, for a guy that size, you know, he's pardon the pun, but he is mobile, not mogul. He's mobile, and he's a good bad guy. I mean, the other two, Bishop Khan and the Samoan dude, they're good bad guys. I just, I don't know right now what storyline I would give any of those three. I don't plan sets. Like tomorrow night, you got to figure that Hackamania is going to be a shit show in terms of the venue. It's going to be a lot of, I'm guessing it's going to be spur of the moment, fly by the seat of your pants. And I'm more of an improv comic anyway. I've got hundreds of jokes in my head. So, I might do all crowd work. I might, do set material. Like I really won't know until I get up there. I don't know if I'm going on first. I don't know. I mean, Melton did ask me if I want to go on last. I told him I don't really care, I don't plan longer sets because I don't think you can. Like Saturday night, I'm at the Comedy Store, and, you never know what the crowd's gonna be like until you get up there, and, well, that's the funny thing, Night Moose, is I was at the Bakersfield show when Edge dropped the blood on Malachi, and I was sitting front row, so, probably I was 2 seats in from the right. So almost in the middle, but not quite. Now, the girl 2 to the left of me got soaked. I mean, her clothes were fucking ruined. I didn't get 1 drop, not 1 drop. So, now I had the Will Ospreay track jacket on, which I ordered from Europe. So I probably would have been a little annoyed, but, I would have dry cleaned it. Would have been a good story. But, and the guy behind her, interestingly enough, got more blood on him than she did. So it was really just, um, lucky. Um, well, I mean, from what I understand, at least 100 tickets have been sold for tomorrow night, the comedy show. So, it should be a live crowd. And I've never seen I've never met Melton. We were on a show together years ago, like 2013, on a show at the Ice House, one of Red Band's Death Squad shows. But I don't remember meeting him. I've never met Pat Dixon. I've never met Ray. So, and I'm looking forward to meeting people from the Dabbleverse live. All these shit talkers. Let's see what it's like when we're all in the room together. Um, Ben Bone Jones, baby doll. Hope you're doing well in Australia. Um, so it should be fun. I have to unfortunately come back to LA Saturday morning for some family business, and the Comedy Store has called me. I mean, we'll see. Earl, no, I came back. I came back. I don't know what was going on with the sound problems earlier. I do apologize for those. It's kind of funny though. The first stream I did, um, it was like a silent stream. Yeah, I mean, uh, I don't see myself getting a ton of followers from this uh, tomorrow night. I mean, and I'm almost glad I'm only going to be there for one night because I know Saturday is pretty much going to be all the podcast. And I have nothing to say about Aaron or Steel Toe or April or any of that shit they're going to be talking about, Stuttering John. I just want to do the stand up. So, and the Win Earl Skakel's money is after the stand up show. And then I think karaoke. And then, I'll go to sleep for a few hours and come back home. Well, that's the problem, Pack. They've not really promoted Ibushi very well in America. Now, I'm assuming he has visa problems because he's rarely in America. Um, so, I don't think people really know the importance of the Golden Lovers. He could start a new elite with uh, Omega, Ibushi, and maybe one or two guys from who are in New Japan now. Um, how would I book Kenny's return if he's healthy? And that's a huge thing if he's healthy. And can he do a 5-star match? If he's up to snuff by London, I have him and Okada run back their matches from New Japan because they have great chemistry in the ring. And, you don't need really a storyline. You have uh, Omega against Okada, and then you got to figure you got to have the Young Bucks against, I mean, I don't. So you can't have Ibushi and a mystery part. You can have Ibushi and a mystery partner, But everyone wants the Golden Lovers. But I don't want to see. I mean, you could have the Golden Lovers against the Young Bucks. That's an option. And then you got to have someone for Okada, which might be. You could either have MJF or Osprey against Okada. Um, you got to have something to for Swerve Strickland though. So, I mean, me personally, it really just depends on Omega's health. Can he? Um, can he go alone for 15, 20 minutes in a hardcore match with Okada? If he can't, you want to kind of split his time in there. You could have the Golden Lovers against the Young Bucks, and then you'd have to find something for Okada. Maybe Swerve and Okada, depending on what happens with Swerve and Osprey. Um, I mean, Forbidden Door. I mean, see, to me, Forbidden Door's Earl is going to want out of that stupid Hackamania comics crowd within minutes of being there. Who knows? You might be right. I might leave tomorrow night. Christian reuniting with the Brood would be fun. Christian and Adam Copeland are going to get back together at some point. What I mean, Forbidden Door is kind of ruined for me because they bring in so many guys from New Japan now that it's like. I would like to see David Finlay. He's a great heel, but American audiences don't really know him, so you're going to have to introduce him pretty soon. I know Mercedes Moné is most likely going up against that girl they brought out last night on Dynamite. Um, I mean, you could have Takeshita maybe against Ibushi. You could have. I mean, seems like Osprey and Swerve are going at it at Forbidden Door. It doesn't really fit the Forbidden Door narrative, but of course, who's the guy with the long hair? Tanahashi. He'll be, and then you've got Shibata, but Shibata's here full time now, so like to me, it's not really Forbidden Door. Maybe Jeff Cobb against Big Bill. That could be interesting. That's the problem. It's like with Ring of Honor. Like Ring of Honor brings in AEW people and vice versa, so it's not really Ring of Honor versus AEW anymore because they're all like in the same boat. So, those are a few of the possibilities I could see. United Empire. I mean, I think Mark Davis is still hurt, but Kyle Fletcher's now here full time, so he's not really New Japan anymore. Um, so, I think Forbidden Door is kind of harder now to, the mystique of it's gone because so many guys are over here now. I like Jay White and Finlay would be good. I'd like to see that. Because when Jay White left as leader of the Bullet Club, Finlay took over. So that's got a good storyline. Maybe Okada and Finlay. So that's a hard one. Because with AEW having relationships now with Ring of Honor. Well, they own Ring of Honor and New Japan. It's the kind of it's like the National League playing against the American League now. When it first happened, it's kind of a big deal, but now with all the trades and free agency of guys switching over from both leagues, it's really not a big deal anymore. Like it was a big deal when the Dodgers and the Angels played even in preseason because they never played each other. But now the Freeway Series at the beginning of each year now is like, oh, Dodgers are playing the Angels. Oh, Jay White's against Finlay. Well, okay. And that's the problem is I think that's one of my main complaints about AEW is that they don't really do a good job of promoting the guys from New Japan. Like when Jay White um, came over, I didn't know who he was because I at the time I didn't watch New Japan. So when he came in, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Now I'm like a huge fan, but like, so they have, they've got 4 weeks now to Forbidden Door. it's a little late to start promoting guys. Like Finley should have done a run in either at Double or Nothing, Dynamite last night, so you get a kind of a sense of, okay, this guy's New Japan. Oh, he's the leader of Bullet Club. Okay. Um, but I'm just happy that WWE has a competitor, because if they're, people shit on AEW for a lot of things, and some of the reasons are valid, but when you don't have competition, guys like Omega, Osprey, Okada, Powerhouse Hobbs, they'd be fucking buried in WWE and with no alternative. So, although AEW isn't perfect, we should all be happy they're here. Hello, the Ring of Honor. You guys are out of control tonight. What sci-fi shows were you into, if any? A Giant Robot was a big. Let's see, where is it? As a kid, I was into this Giant Robot, and it was like a Japanese. It wasn't anime, but because it was live action, but that was sci-fi to me, and I'm surprised no one's done a remake of that, because it's a show from so long ago that I think it would almost come off like an original idea if like Tarantino did it or something. Sci-fi. I mean, Gigantor, and then the Gargantuan brothers. It was only a movie, but it was the brown and the green one, and they were brothers, and they were fighting each other. I cried because you could tell, the good Gargantuan brother didn't want to fight his brother, who was like the mean one. And, Godzilla, I guess, would be considered sci-fi. Son of Godzilla. I've been told the sets at Hackamania are 20 minutes. But I have a feeling people are going to run the light. I'm going to lose my mind. If I'm going last, which I don't mind doing, and people are running the fucking light, just fucking around up there, killing the crowd, I'm going to walk out. Because I've driven to Vegas before, and I've gone to a UFC card at wherever it was, MGM, and driven back home that night. I mean, I am a night owl. I hope that nobody runs the light. Yeah, Godzilla and Mothra was great, but Son of Godzilla is my favorite. As a kid, I loved Jacking It to Chrissy Snow. Well, I mean, there's that. It has nothing to do with sci-fi, but AC/DC, you can, that's what I love about the Earlverse is we can talk about anything. I used to jack it to the bra ads in the back of Cosmopolitan. Well, listen, I am at the point in my life where if I see people running the light just fucking around, I will literally walk out. I won't say goodbye to anybody. Keep the $100. You can have Winray DeVito's money. I'll walk. I mean, I don't think anyone's doing Hackamania to get rich. We're all doing it for the love of comedy. I mean, Carl's, whether you like Carl or not, he's flying out from, where is it, Rochester? It's not something I would do. I've never done that, but I've had someone run the light on me, and I spent my whole set ripping them apart. And I do it when they're in the room still. Especially in the main room. Like, if you talk loud enough in the main room, the people in the green room can hear you. So, it's just so rude. Like, there's really nothing in the real world that equates to running the light. Like, there's nothing that comedy fans will ever understand. And see, the problem with running the light, let's say the first comic tomorrow at Hackamania runs the light. I don't know the lineup. Let's say Melton runs the light. He's feeling it. It's his own festival. There's plenty of people in there, so he's feeling good. And then DeVito's like, well, Melton ran the light. I'm going to run the light. And then Dixon, who I don't know, runs the fuck it. I'm going to run the light. So by the time I get up there, the show's already 30 to 40 minutes too long. And the crowd's tired and they're getting unruly. And since this isn't necessarily a comedy club, the atmosphere is going to be probably a little more loud and live than the comedy club. Like last week, I was in the main room at the Comedy Store closing the show out. My set was supposed to be at 12:15. AC/DC 5150, $1.99. I predict Earl does an Irish goodbye at Hackamania. I might. Hold on, I'm getting thirsty. I gotta get some water. Thank you very much, AC/DC. You're a frequent tipper, and I appreciate it. Are they not aware of it, or they just don't care? They don't care. I mean, if you're past at the Comedy Store, you know where the fucking light is. It's literally right in front of you, but it's high enough on the ceiling where the audience has no idea. Any gash? Not in my house right now, and I don't know. At I think there's a couple girls I know that are going to be there. Michaela, I think KB is going to be there. Um, and I don't know, to be honest with you. Have you ever been to Vegas since they opened the Sphere? No, I don't. I don't really like Vegas. Uh, to be honest with you, I don't gamble. I don't drink. So there is a good comedy scene there, but I mean, it's a good comedy scene from the standpoint of there's a lot of clubs there. I mean, the comics, overall in Vegas are, bar level comics, to be frank. And that's not me shading the Vegas comedy scene, but like, there's not a lot of great comics who come from Vegas. Uh, Reno, I think there's a Laugh Factory there that an old Comedy Store paid regular Harry Basil runs, but he likes people to work clean, and like I hear he like tells people how to perform. It's like, bro, you're not telling me how to perform. You don't like my comedy, that's one thing, but like uh Summer Sinclair, I've heard of her through Melton's podcast, but I've never really seen her act, so like Summer Sinclair would get eaten alive at the Comedy Store. So I mean, she wouldn't even be allowed on the stage. And that's no shade. I don't know her. I'm just saying, like, so I'm used to dealing with more professional comics. Last time I was there, they had just built the Mirage. Now I hear they were tearing it down. Yeah, I mean, last time I was in Vegas, I did a couple bar shows, which were horrible. I did I forget the name of one, the Sandpiper, which was so smoky. I'm surprised I didn't get lung cancer from it. And then I did that bar Stanhope, I guess started at the Dive. It sucked. Um, Thoughts in Circus. Never been there. Nobody tells Earl how to fuck. He does the fucking. Well, I'm at a point in my life where, if I don't like something going down, I'm out. If I'm not feeling the vibe with the girl, I don't call her again. And there's plenty don't call me again. Um, so, the older I get, the more not honest I've become, but I just don't tolerate the bullshit. I mean, I'm expecting a good time tomorrow at Hackamania. I think the win Earl Skakel's money after the comedy show will be fun, be a free for all, and then karaoke and just hanging out will be awesome. I think people should root for Hackamania. Like I said, it's just another option. You go to Skankfest, and I root for Skankfest, even though I don't do it. I want it to be successful every year. Um, you got to understand, like, well, JFL's no more, but comedy festivals like Just for Laughs and the Netflix thing that was just in Los Angeles are incredibly industry um, tainted. So if you're not really part of the industry, you're not going to get in those shows. So shows like um, Skankfest and Hackamania, they're like comedy shows by comics for comics. Uh, if I had fuck you kind of money, I certainly wouldn't be doing a stream trying to get super chats. Um, Russell Peters has "fuck you" money. Uh, yeah, I mean, I think Louis Anderson has had a residency at Circus Circus. I don't believe I've ever set foot in there. Uh, Maybe Hulkamania will. What is? Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't. I didn't know Chad thought that, but uh, I mean, I don't know. So, uh, I don't. Obviously, Chad and Melton don't like each other, so I'm sure Chad's not rooting for Hackamania to be good. And I'm sure. I know what's going on at Hackamania. There'll be people recording, reporting back to Brennan, and Win by Two, I think, is going to do round the clock coverage on Saturday. And, I'm sure, these guys all stream snipe and record each other so they can have content. Um, well, I mean, listen, I go where the comedy shows are. I mean, why wouldn't I, uh, want to perform in a room that 100 to 150 people is the estimate are going to be there for the comedy show. So am I expecting to get heckled there? I mean, I don't know, maybe, but I'm good with hecklers because like I know people who say they don't care the most, but I've roast battled Jimmy Carr on TV. You know how fucking petrifying that is. So getting heckled at some show in Las Vegas, it's not really that scary to me. It's really not. That's not me trying to play it cool. If I can hang with Jimmy Carr on international television, I'm pretty sure I can hang with some drunk slob in Vegas. I mean, I've done comedy for 25 years. I've heard it all. There's nothing I haven't heard that I won't have a reply for. So, what if you see an enormous limo driving down the strip and JR is in the back in the hot tub with hot chicks? JR, Jeff Ross? Oh boy, I would not stop. I thought you meant Jim Ross, the wrestling announcer. But I appreciate you not saying his name, Kongzilla. I appreciate that. I mean, listen, Jeff gets pussy. I give him that. Like I don't know how. I don't know if he drives by the Braille Center and picks up on the alumni there, but the guy gets hot girls. I'll give him that. It's one of the great mysteries of life. Um, yeah, Missy Hyatt's not that bad. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I don't, and it depends on the nature of the heckle. Some hecklers, they just want to play with me and fuck around, and I don't have any problem doing that. But if someone wants to get mean, I have a dark side of me where I can get mean too, and very few people see it. But I'm certainly, my intention is not driving there for less than 24 hours to get in heckle wars. But I'm pretty good with hecklers, so I don't anticipate any problems. Imagine if that Fox executive was behind you. I think he wanted me behind him, if you know what I'm saying. Uh, well, if that's Vince Neil in a limo, I might say, Vince, you got room for another? I used to sit next to Missy Hyatt at King Games because she was dating the kid from the Wonder Years, Jason Hervey. So, um, she was pretty. And she was pretty nice. Let me thank the tipper tonight. It's been a long day in the stream. Thank you, ACDC 5150, as always, one of the all stars in my tipping world. Um, was it for a sitcom? If it was for a sitcom, I would have taken care of business. Um, but it was not. Well, Missy Hyatt was hot, and now she kind of looks like Bret Michaels from Poison. Hello. I'm sure tomorrow night when I'm on stage, I'll get a few hellos, and I'll be like, "Goodbye." Um, so no, we got into a fight once playing volleyball. Now, volleyball was actually, it was a sport only the '80s could produce. Was volleyball inside of a racquetball court, and it was quite, it was kind of cool. It was like indoor soccer. It was. You could play the ball off the walls, and the ball could just never touch the floor. So one time, I think I got an ace, and he fell over trying to get the ball, and I laughed, and he threw the ball at me, and I grabbed him by the throat, and I was pretty strong back then. This is like 90 maybe. And I said, "Listen, motherfucker, I don't care if you're in the Wonder Years or not, but there ain't no cameras in this court, bitch." And then everyone got in between us. And I think at a King game, we kind of broke bread and said, "Hey, dude, we're cool." I never met Eric Stoltz. I've tried to get him on Inappropriate Earl to talk about the wildlife and obviously his, Back to the Future and whatnot, but he's never ever gotten back to me. Uh, Volleyball was cool though, and we had one guy, Walt. So funny, I can remember a guy's name from literally 30 years ago. He was like the Wayne Gretzky of volleyball. He could do trick shots. Volleyball, like you had the kind of have the skills of tennis and volleyball and racquetball, and you combined them all into one, and it got super competitive. Well, that's why I wanted him, William, so bad because I think that's why I liked having my interview with Jack O'Halloran, um, from Superman 2. It's like, I've never seen this guy in an interview. I want him. And, I think that Stoltz, he's probably like just over it. Like, he had a very successful career. Probably peaked at Pulp Fiction. He probably produces and directs shit that none of us even know about. Um, but I'd still like to have a Mud Sharks Unite. We're just about to end the stream, Mud Sharks Unite, but a welcome addition into any of my streams. Will you ever rematch Adam Egat to guessing movies from the songs being played? Thought you had it in the bag. I did, but Adam is a musical connoisseur. My knowledge is really based more in the 1980s, whereas Adam is a little more well-rounded than I am. Did you watch WCW? And yes, of course I did. Capital Combat, baby. I was watching WCW since the Lethal Lottery, which is that might be my all-time favorite pay-per-view because the premise of it was the tag team tournament, but the way it was structured was that you had enemies as tag team partners. So like Sting and Abdullah the Butcher were a tag team, but they hated each other. You had the Freebirds against each other. Really inventive for its time. And then I think at the end, the two finalists faced off for the title. I think it was Luger and Sting. And it was just really well done with it was very well written. And a very, very young Eric Bischoff was the announcer. I think Jim Ross and Shivani, and I believe Missy Hyatt was drawing the numbers. It was just a real time capsule. And then I think the RoboCop angle was after that. Did you know that executive was gay before you went to meet him? Not really. Looking back, no. When I met him at the bar in Beverly Hills, because there was a comedy show at this bar, he just seemed like a bar fly, and he just happened to be in the entertainment business. I asked my friend who was with me that night, who was working for Scott Rudin at the time, "Hey, is this guy legit?" And the guy's like, "Dude, that's the head casting guy at Fox. Take the meeting." Yeah, Bill Man. Uh, well, better WCW. It was bigger in the late '90s, but I think it was like most things. It was better. I think it was better late '80s when it was like in mid '80s when it was NWA. When you had Dusty Rhodes and Nikita Koloff and shit like that happening. A couple more minutes, guys, before we end the stream. I probably won't do another stream, probably till Sunday night. For those of you wanting my schedule, obviously I'll be in Vegas tomorrow night. I'm going to Lucha Brothers wrestling show Saturday night, and then the Comedy Store main room, and then getting up early Sunday morning to be in the Comedy Store float for the Gay Pride Parade. Thank you very much. I like to give back to the community. Did you get ECW? I got it on television. And then I got XPW, which was ECW with no budget. Well, I mean, it's definitely a young person's business. I mean, to be 55 and me, I'm one of the survivors. To be a white 55-year-old straight comic, there's not many of me left. And certainly, obviously I haven't made it. So I'm trying to, still make it, whatever making it is. Now, to some comics, I've made it. To me, I haven't. And with every minute that goes by, I get older. So, but I still like doing it. I mean, obviously, I like it enough to drive to Vegas, where even under the best of conditions, I'm breaking even at the best. I mean, it's probably going to cost me round trip $200 in gas. So I believe I'm getting $100 for the set, and then I don't know how many people came because of me. So I'll get a couple bucks from that, and then that's it. Well, they're not quite that bad. Everyone doing the Hackamania set has made it. I don't know about that, Big Black. I might disagree with you there. If you've made it, you shouldn't be doing Hackamania in the first place. Hello! I should be at least headlining Wise Guys. Comedy promoters are all quick buck hucksters. They're all fucking scam artists. I've never met one honest comedy promoter. If you stay one night, what would it be? If you can stay one age, what would it be? Well, I mean, I actually love my age. I'm honest. I say what I mean. You might not like my comedy, but you can't say I'm not honest. I mean, I'm a comics comic, which is usually the kiss of death, because that means comics love you, but the industry doesn't. Joey Diaz only made it once in his 50s. Well, I mean, Joey Diaz had some help with Rogan, no doubt about it. So, I will do comedy until I don't enjoy doing it anymore. Right now, I still do it. Doing comedy is like doing this stream. I'm not doing this stream to be rich. If I was doing this stream to make money, I would have stopped after my second stream. But I love, I had fun tonight. Here we are, an hour and 2 minutes in. I made $2 tonight, and I still had a good time. So, I mean, Rogan would definitely help, to be honest with you. But he hasn't asked me again, so I don't know if I burned a bridge there unintentionally. But I mean, I think it would be a great interview because I don't have the typical stand-up background. Yeah, hit the like button, please. Would appreciate that. We're going to go 2 more minutes. 1 hour and 5 minutes. Thank you very much for your patronage. Pretty good late night stream. Yeah, I mean, listen, I only want to be on this podcast if he wants me to be on it. I don't want him to go, well, we haven't had Earl on, I guess. I want him to be like, hey, fuck it, Skake will be a great guest. Let's have him on. And I think he's a great interviewer. So he would, needle me to say something I probably shouldn't, and then, get me going. He'd be like a straight man winding me up, and then, I say something that gets viral, and, yeah, I can do a clean set, no problem. No, he didn't ask me to work clean. He just, he asked me to do the podcast. He said, call me tomorrow, as you guys, most of you know. And out of my niceness, I said, well, I'm not going to call him tomorrow. I'm going to call him in 2 days to give him 1 day of not someone asking him for something. And in hindsight, That was a mistake. Earl could drive to Vegas with his friend Dante from Golden Arts Entertainment so he can peruse the talent. There's not enough money in the world right now where you could get me to do that drive. I love driving to Vegas alone. I could stop off at the truck stops, take a piss, have a nice Subway sandwich, get an energy drink, buy a lottery ticket, have a good time. Uh, well, I know from what I understand, Joe doesn't like to be asked, and I get it. Like, I don't want to be forced on him. I probably could ask Joey Diaz, hey, can you mention something to Joe? I mean, I saw Joe at the mothership 2 months ago. He didn't ask me. He doesn't owe me anything, but I know it would be a good interview. And, I know the next day I would wake up with thousands more fans on Instagram and whatnot. So, I think it'll happen eventually, but, maybe it won't. And if it doesn't, either way, I'm good. Well, it's not up to me, Night Moose. So, all right, you kids, Earl Skago, I got to get some sleep and whatnot. I got a long day tomorrow, yoga in the morning, a drive to Vegas, and then 24 hours later, drive back to LA, right straight to a wrestling show, and then to the Comedy Store, and then to get up at 9 a.m. and support the West Hollywood Gay Pride Parade via the Comedy Store. You can stream the Hackamania if you go on hackamania.com. I'm assuming that you're not going to buy a ticket if you haven't bought one already. Discount code is Earl if you're, a day of guy. You get 20% off. And you guys can watch it tomorrow on the stream. It's $19, I think, for the stream. And $1 extra if you're just there for one particular show. Good night. Good luck. And I'll probably do a stream Sunday night, do a Hackamania recap. And of course, Hackamania will still be going on Sunday night. So, but I think they're having the poker tournament and then the go away dinner. So, Polar Burr, I'm just ending the stream, brother. Where have you been the last hour and 6 minutes, brother? I see we got some new people coming in. And I don't do the fucking, give me some money and I'll go another hour. I don't do the, money laundering, panhandling, give me money or I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to end the stream right now. But Polar Burr, welcome. I don't recall your name. So I appreciate you joining the Earlverse system. The next stream, T-Gun. Talk to you later, buddy. Scott Fitzpatrick, I believe you are new to the stream. Now we got new people coming in, but I got to get some rest and whatnot. It's the one thing that sucks about being 55. You get tired quicker, and that drive to Vegas is real soul sucking, but it should be fun in the new car. So I appreciate you guys, and I believe the comedy show tomorrow night starts at 8. Go to hackamania.com. All the info's there for the streaming and whatnot. I will William Zoom, and Sunday night we'll stream. And you guys, hopefully you enjoy Hackamania from wherever you are. If you're going to be there, great. Come up to me, say hello. Despite what these streams reveal about me, I'm actually pretty friendly. I'll get some roadhead. Well, I'll be by myself. So, watch out for the lot lizards. I mean, I do see them when I go out to the pilot truck stop. I love going into those things. They're just some maniacs in those things. I feel real good about myself after going into a pilot truck stop on the way to Vegas. I love you all. Earl Skakel, over and out.